video we're going to be taking a look at the Cowboy, which is a Dimebag Darell kind of homage distortion pedal from Sonicake. Now, disclaimer, two things. First of all, if you're not familiar with the channel, I have a sinus infection, which is why my voice sounds really, really strange, and have had it for, it seems like forever. So I don't always sound like this. And secondly, I am not a metal fan. I reached out to Sonicake recently and asked them to send me their newest from these small micro pedal range, I guess you call it, and they sent me all 6 of them. One of them was this. This is not my kind of thing. This is a metal distortion pedal with a very, very particular tone. But I found it interesting as an alternative rock guy to think, are there areas where I think I could use this in a recording situation to give interesting guitar textures. So what this is a 3-band EQ volume and tone pedal with an interesting feature that when you hold down the foot switch, it switches between a mid-scoop sound and a mid-forward sound, which is really cool actually. It's a really nice feature on such a small and inexpensive pedal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you an alternative rock song by my band Kampala, where I'm using this to get all the distortion tones. Normally in this situation I would use an OCD and a muff in like separate guitar tracks to get this kind of sound, and it gets a completely different type of sound, but it's interesting. So this song is called Attention Center. It's my band's heaviest song, and have a listen to the Cowboy getting all the guitar sounds out. So, there we go. It's interesting, like, that sounded different than it normally sounds, but in a way that maybe, like, the sounds that are in this pedal, layered with the sounds I would normally use for that song, could give it a really, really big sound. It's an interesting experiment, and before I go into the audio demo, I'll just explain the controls. So it's really, really simple. It has gain, volume, bass, middle, and treble. There's 2 modes, right? There's a mid-forward mode and a mid-scoop mode. And what you do is you switch it on by switching the pedal, and you hold the pedal to switch between the 2 modes, right? When you switch to the mid-scoop mode, the mid-control is completely removed, which I think is really interesting. So that's the controls. This is the Cowboy. Let's have a listen to it now. Okay, so it's a demo of the Cowboy. I'm playing this, and sometimes I call this a bit of a blunt instrument, right? Because this is a Yamaha Revstar 7, I think it's a 720T. This is my most modern, round sounding guitar. I made a video about it where I kind of called it a pedal platform guitar, and if I want to do a heavy tone at home, this is a guitar I reach for. It's quite a heavy sounding guitar. And the Cowboy is a heavy pedal, right? There's no getting around it. And when I turned it on at first, I kind of thought, this is not really for me, it's not really something I can use. And in the larger set of circumstances, it wouldn't be. But there are some tones in it that could be useful. And the track that I did at the beginning of this video is a good example of that. There are some songs in my band set where a big, thick, heavy distortion and even like a mid-pushed one layered over a mid-scooped one gives an interesting sound. And not in a metal context, and in a kind of heavy alternative context. So, for the setup, I'm playing the Revstar. Sometimes I'll have the filter on or off, which is the full sound. And so sometimes I'll pull the filter out, which gets rid of some of the bottom end. Okay, going out of it into the Cowboy, and then from the Cowboy into the Solid Studio Mark II from Newegg. In the Solid Studio Mark II, I'm on a Bassman. It's a clean Bassman with a tiny little bit of drive. And the Bassman I'm using because it's very flat, right? So the Cowboy is doing a lot of tonal shaping here, and the reason I'm doing that is the difference between the mid-push and mid-scoop sound in this are insane, right? So to go into it straight away, I'm going to switch it to the red sound to start with. This is the mid-pushed, and to me it kind of sounds like a cocked wah. This is a mid-pushed heavy sound. I'm also tuned to D. Now the gain there is at like a third. That is a heavy pedal, right? So what I would use this for is drop D stuff, so you know. And even that cocked wah thing that it has, and I don't know, I did a little bit of research on Dimebag, by the way. I watched a little bit of a clinic that he did, and I watched an Ola England video explaining his guitar sound. Didn't get very far into either, if I'm honest, because it's just not my thing. But I think it's an interesting challenge, and if you have a pedal that's designed for music that you don't make, what can you do with it? So what I would use this for probably is for Pumpkins and the Kim Tile sound of Soundgarden stuff, right? So it's not bad for that, right? In a band mix that would actually have a lot of power. So, if I wanted to make that less cocked wah, I could bring the mid back, but now it starts to get into like Metallica territory. And just so again, very much not my thing. But you could use it in a band context if you really wanted the guitar to like push through the mix, especially in a recording scenario. Does it clean up? Not really. I think that's that's not really what its thing is. So to just play with the EQ, you can gun the bass, which actually makes the perceived volume go up a lot. It's quite satisfying. A good powerful bass on it. You could gun the mids. I almost don't want to do this. That will be useful, you know, for like a poking through guitar sound you might want on a track. Again, not my thing. And the treble. Really raspy. You know, when it comes to a pedal like this, I'm not an authority on how to get the best sounds out of it. kind of where like it's a gunning the gain then. It hangs together very well. So the last thing I'm going to do is just show you the scoop mode, right? So if I hold the foot switch down, it turns on this sound. Which from a certain perspective has a big muffy thing about it, right? Which kind of has a Smashing Pumpkins thing about it, sort of. But not that. So, in conclusion about the Cowboy for me, it's not aimed at me. It's aimed at, I guess, late 80s, early 90s metal, I think. But I think if you played alternative rock, you could use this to get some interesting textures and tones as part of a recording. It's built really well. The EQ is really responsive. It's just not something that would make its way onto my pedal board in a live situation, but I am going to keep it for weird tones when I want them. So, there you go. Cowboy is not really my thing. And that's not because it's bad, it's just because I don't really understand the type of music it's intended to make. I think if you're looking for I think it's Pantera. I don't even know whether Dimebag Darell played with Pantera or Sepultura. I would be 90% he played with Pantera. But if you're looking for if you're looking for that kind of sound, the two sounds in one pedal thing is very useful with this, and I'm quite impressed by it. So the Cowboy Distortion from Sonicake, a really interesting metal distortion pedal. So if you watched this far, as always, I say thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, throw them in the comment section down below. Please don't ask me questions about Dimebag Darell. I don't know anything about it. If you have questions about the pedal, throw them in the comment section down below and I'll answer them. And if you have watched this far and enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel out loads. And I shall see you in another video again soon. Take it easy. Bye-bye.